Hey everybody, welcome back to the 300ZX Turbo project here in Glenn's Garage. Today's fun and games, rear shocks. So it's an 86 Turbo, so it's got the electronically adjustable shocks from the factory that are utterly pooched. So we're going to be taking those out and replacing them with KYBs. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start working on the top mounts and get those off. Now, I will tell you, I have had the driver's side shock out already. That's how I managed to inspect it. And then I just put it back in loosely, finger tighted everything. So that's going to be the one we're taking out right now. And then we're going to look at the passenger side one, and I'll show you the process I use for undoing the top mounts on that. They are different, okay? The driver's side one, you have to, at least as I can see it, you have to take the trim off, the plastic trim off here to get at it. I see no other way to access those holes and crack them loose. You may have better luck than I do. I hope you do. But anyway, come on, I'll show you what we got here. The top of your shocks is under here, so you're going to have to get your speaker cover, whatever it is or whatever shape it is. Those are pretty interesting. Off. You then got to get this plastic framework off. Okay, and you then got to get the speaker out. Okay, unplug the speaker. Now, this is where it gets fun. Okay, looking through the window here, but there's the 3 bolts, and there's the electrical connector. And when you look down on top, you can see most of one. Okay, that's the easy one to get at. Okay, so I've got a socket on the second one, the one nearest the wall here. And I've got it coming through here, where the spare tire area is right now. I put my gloves back on because I have a nasty feeling that something's going to slip, and I'm just going to hit some sharp metal back here. So, all right. So I've just removed the spare tire, more disassembly, and I've unplugged the electrical connector there, so I have a little more room. But I do have the socket on the third one up here now, and then I've got a pipe. Oops, got a pipe on here, so okay, have that loose. So it's going to take some fiddling, but I have managed to loosen all 3 of them without taking everything apart. So it can be done. Not easy, but it can be done. Good to know. Probably should point out that this access through here isn't an option on the other side, unless you take the plastic off, and then you start taking a lot of the plastic off. But the more I look at this, the more I'm pretty convinced that the driver's side one, you have to remove the plastic trim to get at those 3 bolts. Passenger side one, you can do this way. Okay, so here's the view of the top mount on the driver's side. You can see the 3 bolts there that I've had loose already. Speakers all out here. All right, so that's the electrical connector that you've got to effectively go in and just squeeze these 2, and it releases the clip, and that just pops off the top here. So you have to do that first if you're dealing with the turbo ones. Okay, so I got the three nuts off of there now. Like I said, they were just hand tight for me. So when you do that, the lower mount will drop. So basically there's a lower mount and an upper mount here, and they sandwich between the sheet metal. So it's dropped down, so this can be removed now. And next step, we'll have to remove that nut. Now again, this has been taken out before, so, and you also note my brakes are off. You may or may not be doing that. You need a 17 mil socket, and then a 17 mil wrench, and pop that out. You see I've got the scissor jack underneath here to keep the keep keep from it dropping so it doesn't just slam down, and then we can control the drop once we get that bolt out. So I got the bolt out. Let's do that. Drop that down, and there we go. Alright, so what you end up with, you've got this mount here that actually attaches to the rod or shaft of the shock, and then you've got this lower mounting plate, and then they sandwich together with the upper mounting plate. And as you can see, as I push on this, like they're done. There's nothing there. So clearly utterly worn out and blown. So okay, so let's have a look what we got here. We have a 19 mil socket nut on the top here that we need to loosen up, and we've got a couple of flats here on the shaft, so we can put a 17 mil wrench there and we can get this off. All right, here we go. Good. That's that apart. That's that apart. This has all been new, and that's going to get thrown out. Alright, so I haven't quite thrown this out yet, despite what I just said. If you've got a non-turbo car, then you just take your new shock, start reassembling it to put it in the car. If you've got a turbo one and you're replacing these electronically adjustable things, this is where the first challenge comes in, because what you're going to find is this diameter here on the old shock, this diameter here and this diameter here are quite different. So if I get my guessing stick out, that's 0.544, I don't know if you can read that, 0.544 inches, which is 13 something millimeters, 13.8 millimeters. And if I go to the new shock, which would be the standard non-turbo one, that shaft diameter is 386, if you can read that. I don't know if you can read that on there, which is 9.8 millimeters. So when you slide this top plate in, it's, rather than sliding in here nicely, it's going to rattle around, so it's not going to fit. So you have two choices. You either find this plate out of a non-turbo, or what was part of that KYB adapter kit is a sleeve that goes over here and makes this diameter effectively a tube that slides on there, so this diameter becomes this diameter, so you can use the existing turbo mount here. Fun and games. Alright, so we're going to get ready now to put the new shock together so it's ready to assemble in the car. Now, we're starting with a KYB shock. There's the number. Oh, we're starting with that. Got it all ready here. As I said before, of course, this is all different than the adjustable turbo shock. The eagle-eyed among you may also notice that that's not the normal color of a KYB shock absorber. They're normally silver. I just refinished it the gold color to match the front strut cartridges that I refinished and painted. So I did the same with this. I've shot it with the gold and a clear coat, so for no other reason than it'll look nice. No one will see it. No one will know it's there except me and anyone who's watching this. Now, Anyway, we're ready to start putting it together now. So we're going to start. I also ordered SB107 bump stop, which was the one that sort of comes recommended for this shock. However, in doing a bit of measurement of the static ride height from the center of the bolt to the underside of the body where the shock mounts, I realized that this assembly was going to be way too long. So what I've done is I've modified the bump stop considerably. I've cut all that off. So I've just a little short bump stop, and then I took the dust boot and I've cut a bunch of the dust boot off as well. I probably that much off, so I didn't want it bottoming on that before it even had any compression in the suspension. So we slid that together. We'll put that on over here first. Okay, there's that. Next is the lower mount here. So this is the mount that goes on. And that's the one that always drops down when you unbolt everything. Alright, this is the actual mount that attaches to the shock. And what I've done is I've put a sleeve in. Like I said, you can either buy a non-turbo one of these, or you can get a sleeve. I've made up a little sleeve here, tapped it in place, so it's not a bad fit in there, and it's a decent fit over the end here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a small washer. Okay, put a small washer on the end here first, so it's not just a sleeve that's sitting on this little enlarged diameter here, because otherwise it'll probably just bang on the sleeve. So at least that way it distributes any load a little better. And oh, I should also tell you, before I go any further, on the turbo ones there's a tab sticking up here. That tab, I believe, is to stop the shaft rotating. So they don't want the shaft rotating because there's an electrical connection inside, and if the shaft slowly rotates around as it goes up and down, it'll start to pull on the wires. It just gets in the way for this. There's no provision for it. I'd have to start cutting a little slot in the shock absorber rod here for it, so I just ground it away. So sleeve in, tab gone. Cut the bump stops here. We use the 107, SB107, and then we can slip that over, and then that goes on top of that. And then we have a nylock nut that comes from KYB when you buy this. So I'm just going to tighten that nut down. There's a little flat here to hold it, and this will be ready to put in the vehicle. Okay, so that's it all put together, and then this just slides up like that and then gets bolted on from the top. So we're ready to try and go into the car and get this in place. Okay, so I'm going to try and feed this up. Put that through. So try and feed that up into the top, and then go over the top and get a nut on, so at least it's suspended, and then I can try and work the bottom into place. I have a scissor jack under the control arm here because it will drop a lot. Otherwise I didn't want it to drop that much. So let's see if I can do this. It would be ideal for two people, but I'm going to see if I can do it by myself. Okay, I've managed to get the three just down to the nylock part there, so it is at least suspended. So now I just got to position the bottom to get the bolt in. Okay, we're going to lift the jack up a little bit here. Yep, needs to come up a little bit. There we go. Beauty. Okay, so the torque spec is 51 to 65 foot-pounds for an unadjustable shock according to the Nissan manual. So we've done it to 60 foot-pounds of torque. So, and one thing I should point out, I forgot to put the top mounting plate on when I forgot to put this on when I was finger tightening the top of the shock. So I'm going to go back and do that. So just a reminder, don't forget that. That goes on before you put the nuts on. Do this to the window here. There's the top mount all put together, snug down. Okay, so there we go. That's how I replace the rear shocks on my Z31 Nissan. All right, there we go. Shocks are all done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope the video is helpful for you if you're looking at replacing the rear shocks on your Z31 Nissan. As always, a like or subscribe would be awesome, much appreciated. And yes, keep tuning in to the channel. The Z31 is going to continue on. We're going to keep working on the project. I think we're going to be heading under the hood now, so more stuff to come for sure. And always appreciate it when people check the videos out. So in the meantime, drive safe. Have a great day, everybody, and I hope I see you back here in the garage.